we had made Reanimator, which did well, okay theatrically, but caused quite a commotion in video and direct-to-video back in the day, not just in the U.S. but in the U.K. and other countries. This is when the foreign market was very vibrant, and Reanimator was just so unique and different and out there that it had an immediate following. So of course, we needed to make not a sequel, which was talked about at the time, because I really wasn't into that idea for Reanimator, but another adaptation of a Lovecraft piece was the whole idea. So Stuart Gordon, myself, my father, who was involved at the time, we got together with Dennis Paoli, the writer, and we talked about which ones would make sense. And From Beyond was chosen as one that had some cool elements, and it was pretty quick, that we were able to organize it. And it was also a thrill for me because I had purchased the Dino De Laurentiis studios in Rome, Italy. It was a treat. We felt like old Hollywood because it was a big studio. It was 100 acres. We had sound stages. We had sets left over from Barbarella and the Ten Commandments and costumes. And I regret, because I only owned the studio for about 3-4 years, and then life changed and no more studio. But I really regret not keeping some of those costumes because they're all technically mine. I could have shipped them somewhere, and had a hell of a collection. But From Beyond was a big challenge because, again, this is back before CGI and before all the tricks that you can do today. So everything you see was filmed and built, and an endless amount of effects in huge crates being sent over from LA by air. None of it inexpensive. So I just remember a lot of hustle and bustle to get everything there that was needed. We had probably the biggest effects team ever for an Empire film on that one film. And it was exciting. It was one of of all the movies we made during that 3-year period at the Empire Studios in Rome, Italy, it was probably, in a way, the most, it wasn't the biggest budget one, because we shot something called Arena at the same time that was even more ambitious. But it seemed like it was one of the coolest ones, for sure. There was such a good vibe back then. I think Empire was unique. That was a time when video was exploding and it was really fueling many independents. And whereas even today, most horror films, which are much more in vogue today in a certain way than they were back then, it's like everyone's making a horror movie. Whether it was back then or today, most horror films are very bloody and torture horror, and we were making more benign movies with puppets and dolls and fantasy creatures, so we were unique in that way. Plus, actors, directors were shipped off to Rome, Italy. It's not like they went to, Yugoslavia at the time, or Siberia. This was one of the most, in my opinion, of course, the most beautiful city in the world. So they went to Rome to shoot a movie, at a studio that was built by Dino De Laurentiis. So it wasn't a hard sell. And it was really magic for a while. Very old school, completely bizarre today. You would never be able to spend that kind of money on a small independent film. So there was a good vibe at the time, and there still is. It's just interesting how creative people, even people who've made it in Hollywood who are mainstream, they love the work at the end of the day. And if you know how to approach them, and if you work around their schedules, part of the reason why I'm able to still make movies that look pretty amazing for very little money is I go to people who are very established, who are pros. I go to great DPs and art directors who I've known for years. That helps. And I say, look, between these two huge movies, you make all this dough, I can give you like 3 pennies. But for 2 weeks, come on board my little film, we'll have some fun. And they prefer that than to sit at home and wait for their agent to call on the next big gig. So the trick is to get great craftspeople on board, and have a good time and make a weird little movie.